So today on Behind the Court podcast, we're joined by Coach Sam Fecteau. With extensive experience in coaching collegiate tennis, Samuel has developed a reputation for his strategic approach and commitment to player development. So throughout his career, he has guided numerous athletes to reach their full potential both on and off the court. So today we're excited to hear his insights on the recruiting process, his team, and his program. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you for having me.
So, to start off, before we talk about tennis, what was the most embarrassing moment on court that you ever had?
Oh man. That's I guess that's a good question. I can't honestly pull anything to my head of really embarrassing moments. I mean, uh, I had a really nasty fall once, and I ended up on my back with my feet in the air, and I had to shake it off pretty good. But honestly, I nothing that I can recall that's anything too crazy.
Okay, could you tell me a little bit about your journey? How did you start to coach? Was it something that you always dreamed about, or it was just a accident? Could you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so I kind of experimented with all sports, and then I fell in love with tennis. I loved the independence of it. I loved the ownership and the accountability that you have to have as an athlete in tennis. I competed for a while. I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do for a career, but I knew I loved tennis. Um, I had a lot of passionate individuals that helped shape my game and help me with my career. And when I stopped competing and I knew that I wasn't going to go professional or anything like that. I wanted to give back to a community that was so good to me. So I started investing my time into coaching. Again, I had some great role models, some people that I got to mentor under, and just kind of propelled me forward. I fell in love with teaching. I fell in love with coaching, and that's where my passion lies.
If you had to describe your tennis journey as a title of a movie, how would you name it? And who would play you as a main character?
Um, oh gosh. Uh, Title of a movie. Bad News Bears. I don't know. And if I was gonna pick somebody to play me, um, oh gosh, who's the guy that plays Ted Lasso?
That's a good choice. I don't
Oh,
know
shoot.
his name, but I know who you're talking about, and I think it's a great option.
I'm blanking on it, but that's who I would choose.
Honestly, whenever I came up with this question, I looked at your pictures, on the website, on your Facebook, and I was like, that would be someone who I would choose to uh, for you to play.
Perfect.
So, if you weren't a tennis coach, what do you think you would do non-tennis related?
Well, originally, before kind of coaching was what I wanted to go into physical therapy and work with athletes. I had opportunities to shadow at a hospital in a physical therapy department and learn post-operation procedures and get to shadow and see what it was like, and I loved that. But I think I just kept falling back into how much I loved tennis and staying
Mhm.
involved in that field, and yeah, I loved working with my athletes. So,
Mhm. So I know that you run both men's and women's team, right? Okay, I'm so confused how to pronounce the name Willamette.
oh, so yeah, it's Willamette.
Willamette. Okay.
Yes, yeah, no, you're on par with everyone else. Everybody is Willamette, but no, Willamette.
Willamette. Okay. So, you run both teams. What's a misconception that people have about coaching college tennis?
Um, Misconception people have about coaching college tennis. Um, I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know any misconceptions people might have about it.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I apologize. I wish I had a better answer for you. I'm not sure.
How about Division 3 schools in general? Because a lot of people think that tennis is bad, and because Division 3 schools don't have athletic scholarships, it's hard for them to make a decision to come to Division 3 schools. So what's your perspective on it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, the Northwest Conference that we're in is incredibly strong. The men's side, you're seeing players with, upwards of 10 plus UTRs. Some really strong players in the conference. Even on the women's side, we just one of the players that just graduated from Pacific was an 8+ UTR. I
Hmm.
mean, uh, I've got a friend that coaches at Wash Lee. There's a girl on the team that's a 9.4. That's
Hmm.
not bad. That's not bad tennis. So I think that the misconception that Division 3 is just low level tennis isn't necessarily true. I think what Division 3 has to offer is a much better life balance.
Hmm.
You get to really pursue your passions not only in the classroom but also your tennis passion, and I think it's kind of a great blend of both worlds. I think it's a lot of fun. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a great atmosphere, and depending on the program that you get involved in, you can still develop your game. You can still really pursue being competitive in your sport, but just with the balance of really prioritizing education as well.
Hmm. You started to talk about UTR, and that Division 3 schools still have high UTR for players. Do you like UTR system in general in terms of judging people's level, or what would be the alternative that you could think of?
Man, I mean, I've heard a lot more talk about WTN playing more of a role moving forward. UTR is fine. All of these rating systems have their own flaws, but they at least give a somewhat gray picture of what you're going to get. But I do think that UTR can be inflated.
Hmm.
Um, it can, it's the region that you're in. I even think that sometimes pre-college UTRs can be quite inflated, and then they get into college and it's a whole different game. Um, so I think it paints a picture, not the most accurate picture, but it does a job.
Hmm. Okay, we will move a little bit more towards your team and program. So I checked Instagram of both teams, and it seems like women's team has so much fun. I saw that they have themed days when they dress up with the certain colors, or I saw that they did Adam Sandler Day, which was super funny to me. So what do you think is the secret sauce for keeping this team vibes strong, that your players are able to have fun?
Um, yeah, I mean, the secret sauce is just I think for the program, I think for the players that have been part of the team, is just giving them hope and giving them opportunity. I think that's the most important thing is, as a coach, I can only give them opportunity. They have to have the determination to realize that opportunity. But I think being given opportunity is such an important thing, and they just they just had a blast. I mean, they're just a wonderful group of people. They train hard, and yeah, the culture that we've been able to create in that team is just amazing. They love each other. They spend every day together. They're doing stuff and out of practice. I mean, it's awesome. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, that sounds again like just based on social media that I could see. It seems like they're having so much fun just outside of court, as you said, which for coach experience is definitely crucial. You know, that's the time when you build all of your friendships and you're making connections. So, does your team have any traditions or rituals, you know, on court, outside of the court, something that they follow that maybe brings them luck?
I mean, we I mean, we have pre-match warm-ups that we do every single time, some drills that we like to do just to kind of get ourselves ready. Have some music that we like listening to. Um, I like to think that we're the loudest, most supportive team in the division. I, I've always enjoyed that the most about college tennis. You know, like I've competed in tennis in all different facets, and the most fun competing has been in being involved in college tennis.
Hmm.
You know, hearing your teammates on the bench just like going crazy. There's just nothing like it. You know, again, I think that that's also a big part of our team culture. Is like the wins are great, but when you leave college, it's the people you meet, it's
Hmm.
the relationships that you make. That's what it's all about. So I think that's kind of what people carry in our
Hmm.
program is just like the importance of these interpersonal connections that they're creating.
Hmm. If you had to just describe your team's culture, how would you describe it?
Uh, Growth mindset.
Hmm. That's a
Yeah,
great.
honestly, all the players on my team that enter the program, they want to improve, they want to get better, they're hungry for the opportunity to work hard, and I think that's great, and I think that that's a big part of the balance that Division III offers is
Mhm.
that they're hungry for every opportunity to get better. So.
You started to talk about cheering and tennis, and I think I agree with you that it's probably my favorite part about college tennis as well, especially because tennis is considered to be a really quiet sport. You know, you like during football or basketball games, like people still can scream. There is so much noise on the background going on, but for tennis, it's always quiet. You know, somebody sneezed during US Open match, like people will stop, or like you cannot walk, you cannot do anything. But college tennis is probably a unique experience when you can actually be loud and cheer for yourself, you know, cheer for your teammates and all of these different chants the team have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like my freshman year, it was so hard to step outside of the comfort zone because, again, you're always so quiet. And here you actually have to scream and be loud and put so much effort into it. So I completely understand what you're saying. Do you have a favorite chant for your team?
Um, a favorite chant for the team. Um, Goodness gracious. There's been a lot. Gosh, I couldn't do any justice. Everybody does the BEARCAT. Bearcat is the life for me. I mean, so that's a good one. I'm not normally one that's partaking in the in the chant, so yeah, I'm not going to do it any justice.
Hey, this one sounds fun. Do you have like someone specific in the team who come up with them, or is it historical thing? How does it work in your team?
So the men's team, we took a massive hit last year. We graduated three players on our team. We graduated our number one. We graduated our number two. That's our 1 and 2 singles player and our number one doubles team, which was
Oh
just
wow.
a huge hit for us. And our number one was one of the best players in the division. He was super strong, really, good player. And then there was another player, our number 6 singles player, Andrew Kropp, who was well known in the division as the loudest guy out there. And he kind of set the tradition of just being, um, yeah, loud. And he was the one that was always doing the chants. You know, he always used to love screaming like such a smart shot, top GPA in his class. You know, it's just like Yeah, some really good. He was amazing, and he set a real precedent for that. So, his senior year, he actually got injured. He poor guy tore his Achilles tendon, so he ended up being our team cheerleader for the for the most part. He would be at every match cheering us on, and so now our player from Serbia, Velibor. He is now our loud guy on the sidelines that kind of spurs that on. But yeah, no, it's just a great atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Okay, for my next question, I would like for you to finish the sentence. The sentence is, I know it's a great match day when.
I know it's a great match day when my team brings our 3 core values: effort, attitude, and focus.
How do you implement these 3 aspects? Like, how do you build this understanding in your players?
It starts off the court, really trying to build these positive patterns of thought. Again, those are the 3 things that you can control on the tennis court. A lot of times us as players, we get focused on all of the wrong things, and, trying to facilitate the mindset that we can only control the effort that we bring to the court, our focus levels, and then a positive attitude. Facilitating that is just, it starts, off the court, and then in practice, just trying to build these positive habits. And I think we can all relate in tennis. Those are 3 very difficult things to control. Some days our effort is not where we want it to be. Some days our focus isn't where we want it to be. Sometimes our attitude isn't where we want it to be. But, we do have control over those things. So trying to bring that to the court.
So whenever your players struggle, during matches, what would you say to them to hype them up? Maybe, bring their attitude, their effort back?
Just the great thing is that in my time at Willamette, I've really created a great rapport with my players. So it doesn't really take a lot to bring them back into their good space. So a lot of times it's just reminding them that whatever's happening on the court is generally outside of their control, especially if it's on the other side of the net. So just trying to stay composed, staying professional. Even though we're not professional tennis players, we can still conduct ourselves with professionalism on the court. So, I can be a hype coach, but generally just try to keep things even keel. Generally, people need a presence that's calm, not something that's going to make them ride their highs too high or their lows too low. So,
I know that most of your players are they're from different states, but they're still within the same country. Do they have a lot of support, from their parents, from their friends? Do you get a lot of people to attend your matches?
Yeah, actually, we've got a great community of people that come out to watch our matches. Generally, our stands are pretty full, which is great. I love having people at our and also, with our indoor facility, we all like the people that use the facility outside of our practices. They love coming to the matches and watching as well. We've got great community support around the program, which is great.
That's awesome. Okay, we will dive more into recruiting process. And again, something that is more common for Americans compared to international students is having visits to school before they decide where they would like to commit. So we will cover more of this aspect. So for the first question, what is the difference between official and non-official visits, specifically at your school?
In regards to these questions regarding visits, unofficial visits, everything that I've done in my coaching and my time at Willamette has been under I love to create a connection with my players, and then I get them set up with admissions right off the bat. I think them getting involved with their admission counselor early is fantastic. They are the experts when it comes to the admissions process, when it comes to, how they're going to get best set up at Willamette. Willamette offers stipends for players that for people that are traveling to visit the campus when they set up tours on the campus. So great opportunity to come check out the school. In regards to official and unofficial visits, I'm generally just getting players onto campus through admissions and meeting up with me so we can talk about the tennis program. Outside of that, I haven't really done anything I have plenty of players that have come to campus. I haven't spoken to them, but they were interested in Willamette before that, and they come and see the school, and then I find out later, and then we get linked up. But outside of that, that's generally the process that I take. I start a rapport with the player. If they show interest in checking out Willamette, I get them set up with the admissions counselors. Admissions counselors gives them dates that are great. We have awesome events like Bearcat Day and great tours around our campus. I think that's one of the most important things. If you've had any chance to look at the campus, Willamette is gorgeous. It's a beautiful campus. It's a small school, which is great. I think that's the best, because now you're going to have closer interpersonal relationships with the professors, and they really advocate for your success in the classroom. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
So from your perspective, what's the first thing that you usually notice whenever you meet recruits for the first time?
What's the first thing I notice?
Yes.
Goodness. I mean, for me, it's always just going to be, like, I look for attitude, kind of just in the conversation, getting to know the player, kind of seeing, what kind of demeanor they may have. Again, there's a lot of times, like, especially in the recruiting process, like NCSA, whatever, you're watching videos, but that only gives you so much information. So like getting to know the person, seeing kind of, their attitude, that's a big one for me. That's important.
In terms of like rankings and academics, what are you looking for in players that you would love to have on your team?
Yeah, I mean, Willamette is a very strong academic school. We're a top end liberal arts school in the country. So, we're looking for players with, 3.5, 3.6 GPA plus. It's a writing school as well, so strong writing skills are important. But, again, it's definitely academic forward, and we want our student athletes to be set up for success. So showing extracurriculars, showing that they have been involved in other programs outside of just maybe their sport and their schooling. I think that can be really important. So,
in your opinion, what would be some of the most important aspects that athletes should look at whenever they visit schools? You mentioned that like admissions provide a great tour. Let's say if somebody has two schools to compare, what do you think should be the most important core things for them to make a decision?
I mean, it's their life. So, I think really important things is does the financial aid package make sense? Are you getting the right cost? Better schools are going to cost more. That's something that you're going to have to generally take into consideration. Like, if you're going to pay for a good education, so that can be something to take into consideration. Are you getting scholarships? So if you're pursuing Division III, we can't offer athletic scholarships, but are you getting good academic scholarships to set yourself up for success? At the bottom line, school can be expensive. So it's important that, what you're getting into. I think that's really important. If you're pursuing a sport, making sure that you like the coach, making sure, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with that person, so making sure that you have a good rapport with the coach. Does the school offer the program that you want? You're going to be spending 4, 5, 6, 7 years inside of these programs. Like, do they have the things that you want? Again, it's a commitment in time. It's a huge commitment in time. So you want to make sure that you are, getting what you want out of the program. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially if we're being honest, most of the people not going to become professional tennis players. So at this point, like if you go to college, you have to think about, okay, what will be my next step? So I think all of the things that you just covered, they're important. Yeah, because you need to make the right decision for the next years of your life. You know, it's a pretty long-term decision. Okay,
Yeah.
for my last question in this group, I would like to know what, from your perspective, what are some of the things that recruits or your players can do that will be immediately no for you? You know, so they do something, you're like, no, thank you, I'm not. Mm-mm.
Immediately knows is a hard thing. And the only reason I say that is because I'm a firm believer in, opportunity and chances. So, I mean, it's hard to say. Obviously, there's, from a coaching perspective, if their academics meet the school's expectations and all of those things, and they're a good fit for the college academically, for me to not be interested, it would have to, there would have to be some glaring things, whether it be like, I don't know, constant bad behavior on the tennis court, where you can see that it could be toxic to the teammates around you. The last thing you want is somebody that's going to adversely affect the culture that you've worked so hard to build. Multiple missing calls and set up meetings. Like if it happens over and over again, there's been a few times where I've tried to get in touch with somebody and we'll set up a Zoom call and they no show. I'll call them, no answer. And then they'll text me back later the next day and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Can we do it again?" And then it happens again. And I'm just like, well, maybe it's just not a good fit. So I don't know. I like to give people opportunity. Everybody's lives are busy, especially, for a lot of players when they get later in the season, they're competing in high school tennis, they're potentially doing exams, there's so many things going on. So I try to be understanding.
Do you have a specific tip or life hack for people to balance school and sports while being in college?
Well, a lot of times colleges have great career path programs, and a lot of times those programs can offer great education on time management. That can be amazing. I think a great way to have success in the classroom is, whether you do well or poorly on your first quiz or exam, go talk to the professor. Get involved with talking to the professors early. They're going to love that. They're teaching for a reason. They want to work with students. And I think that that's really helpful for the classroom. But I think time management, most of the time, you can balance being a student athlete pretty well, as long as you have strong time management skills. But if you're procrastinating and waiting to the last minute, and then you're trying to cram on the bus when you're on the way to an away match, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I like your point about going to talk to professors, no matter if you did good or bad on the quiz or exam, because I think especially in small schools, it's so important to build this interpersonal connection and relationship with your professors. Because my freshman year, I had a story. I took personal finance class and I did so bad on the exam, really bad. And I was studying so hard, but it was my first semester. So vocabulary was really tough for me, and just the format of exams and everything. And then I went to talk to professor, and she literally gave me my exam back home so I can go through all of the questions. I came back next day and she gave me the exact same exam that I had. So obviously I knew all of the correct answers. And then she put the grade that I got on the second exam, on the one that I retook, which was, really kind and nice of her, because instead of giving me a bad grade, she gave me an opportunity to learn from my mistakes. And then she rewarded me with that. So
That's awesome.
What you said is, yeah, that's a really great point, and that's something that I tell my friends when they ask me for advice for college. I'm like, yeah, just become not friends, but become familiar with your professors and make them know you. Okay, before we jump into the last part, which will be game, is there anything else that you would like to share about yourself, about the team, about the program that maybe we didn't cover during the last 30 minutes?
I mean, Willamette's an incredible school. We've got a program that's growing and getting better every single year. I'm excited for the future. I'm very lucky to be part of this program, and again, I'm excited for what's to come.
Awesome. So for our last part of this video, we will play a game, which is called blind ranking. So basically, I'm gonna give you 5 players one by one, and you have to rank them from 1 to 5 without knowing who is coming next.
Okay.
So first player will be Roger Federer.
1.
Okay, second one, Pete Sampras.
Okay. 3.
Okay. For the next one, Novak Djokovic.
2.
2. Okay. Fourth one, Andrea Gassim.
Oh man. 5.
Okay, and for the last one, Rafael Nadal, you have him on the 4th.
4.
Okay, if you could change something, would you change anything?
Now let me just clarify. Is this like, are we having the GOAT conversation? Who's the greatest of all time, or players that I like?
We can do both, honestly. Do you have a different perspective on these two things?
Yeah, honestly, I think, at this point, it's really hard to argue that Djokovic is going to be the number one. He's prolific in what he's done in his career. Whether people like his attitude or demeanor on the court, I think, is irrelevant in the conversation. I think that's what people take away a lot of times, that his demeanor is not. But that doesn't matter. He's obviously an incredible player. So I would say Djokovic 1, Nadal 2. I would say Federer, Sampras, Agassi. And I know Sampras is incredible, but I don't think I don't know if he did what those other guys did. If he was in the generation of the Nadals and the Federers and the Djokovic's, that American style of tennis, the big serve, and I don't know. He was a great player. I'm not going to take it away from him. He was incredible. He had amazing hands. He was an all around strong player. But I mean, honestly, what Djokovic has done, still doing, that's crazy. In terms of who I like the most, I would probably switch that lineup around a little bit. Federer, Agassi. Federer, Agassi, Sampras, Nadal, Djokovic.
Okay, interesting. Like you flip them.
Yeah, a little bit of a flip right there. I grew up with a dad that was absolutely obsessed with Agassi. I started watching tennis when Agassi was towards the end of his career. Sampras was towards the end of his career. So I got to watch them play some pretty amazing tennis. I was in love with the guys like James Blake, players like that, like the underdogs. That was my thing. I absolutely loved it. Like when Dimitrov and Federer were playing, like I like Dimitrov way more, like the underdog. Like I didn't expect him to. It's fun that way.
Who's your favorite tennis player right now? Or like underdog, I assume.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not much of an underdog story anymore. Jannik Sinner, I mean, unreal. It's crazy seeing the evolution of tennis. Every single year, it seems like these guys are just moving a little bit faster, hitting the ball just a little bit bigger. I mean, Jannik Sinner is playing a pretty incredible game. Alcaraz, the way that guy moves around the court is unreal. I won't lie, I love watching Monfils. Seeing him still competing and going out there is great to see. I mean, that guy's what, 40 now? I don't know. It's just crazy to see people. I have a hard time running around the tennis court now, so it's like it's unbelievable to see these guys still playing at that level.
Yeah, I agree with you. And well, you had a great rankings, and I like that you put two different perspectives into it. And yeah, that was pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this. This is a great opportunity for coaches to sell their program. It's great.
Thank you. Yeah, and for all of the listeners, I will leave a bunch of the links for website, for academics website, for tennis, and for their social media as well as contact information, so everyone can have an access to learn a little bit more. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, that was